Breaking news in Major League Baseball. Shortstop Carlos Correa and the San Francisco Giants are reportedly agreeing to a 13-year, $350 million deal. Correa spent only one season with Minnesota last year, hitting .291 and 22 home runs. The Giants, well, they tried their hand at Aaron Judge and Trey Turner, but looks like they got their guy, and for the next 13 years in Correa. Now taking a look at the highest paid shortstops based on annual average value, with his new deal worth just under $27 million per season, Carlos Correa sits at number 4. He's trailing Francisco Lindor, Corey Seager, and Trey Turner. And taking a look at the free agent shortstop market so far, Correa now heading to the Bay. Snyder now in San Diego. Turner has a new home in Philly. That leaves Dansby Swanson still the only one without a new deal. And here are the latest odds to win the World Series next season. Astros are your favorites, followed by the Dodgers, Mets, Braves, and Yankees. Meanwhile, the Giants have the 16th best odds, sitting at 50-1. Stick with us here on HQ for all the latest surrounding MLB free agency. Well, joining us now to get his reaction on this breaking news in Major League Baseball, Matt Snyder, our CBS MLB writer. Correa, 13 years, $350 million. Matt, what stands out most to you about this new deal?
It's the years, and I think it's because we're kind of trending in this direction, and it doesn't matter how the teams pay on a per-year basis contractually, whether they front-loaded or back-loaded or it's equal every year. Toward the luxury tax, it counts average annual value. So it seems like we're starting to see a trend here with the Trey Turner 11 years, Xander Bogaerts 11 years, now Carlos Correa 13 years. Previously, we'd only seen Bryce Harper go more than 10 years when he got 13 from the Phillies. It looks like teams now are starting to look at that luxury tax and say, here's a way that we can kind of go a little bit around it. Even if we're going to front load this deal and not pay the guy as much on the back end, if we give him 13 years, then we're only it's $26.9 million a year. And something I think kind of even just 2 or 3 years ago, maybe he would have gotten something like 8 years and $300 million. Now they're spreading it out a lot more, so it's not as much of a hit going toward that luxury tax. I wonder if at some point Major League Baseball, maybe some owners from mid-markets or smaller markets are going to jump in and say, hey, come on now. They're obviously getting around the luxury tax rule with these longer deals to spread the money out. But to me, that's the thing that sticks out the most about this. Obviously, the Giants getting a superstar shortstop to anchor their team is a big deal as well.
Yeah, an interesting trend there you mentioned being 13 years. But how do you see his skill set getting San Francisco back to a World Series?
Well, first off, I think he is going to age really, really well. And he was injury prone earlier in his career, but he hasn't been so much the last few years. He played 58 of 60 games, 58 out of the 60 games in 2020. He played 148 in 2021. He only played 136 last year, but it's because he got hit in the wrist with a pitch and it broke a bone. That isn't really, it's not like bad hamstring or knee or back problems or anything like that. So I think he's going to age pretty well. He's going to anchor them defensively. They'll be at shortstop. He's phenomenal defensively. They'll be able to move Brandon Crawford probably to second base, but also he has a really good arm, so he could go to third base if need be as well. He'll anchor the offense. He hits the ball hard. He hits it to all fields. He has gap power. It's not like he's going to lose a ton of home runs because San Francisco does suppress home runs, but he's not really a huge home run guy. He's more of a gap power guy. Most of all, he's a superstar anchor. They haven't had one of those in a long time. I guess you could count Buster Posey on the offensive side. He did win an MVP, but I'm thinking more along the lines of the star power of a Barry Bonds type, probably not to that level, but he's probably the biggest superstar type name they've had since Barry Bonds. So, they've had a really good offseason. And when I look at the National League, 6 playoff teams from last year, none of those teams look like they're going away from contention, but none of the other non-contenders have really stepped up to the point that you think they're going to challenge any of the contenders. That's where the Giants could be the one team. It looks like right now you've got 7 contending teams for 6 playoff spots in the National League.
Yeah, Giants there with a splashy signing, and that is our Matt Snyder there as Carlos Correa signing a 13-year, $350 million deal. Thanks for the insight, Matt. Now taking a deeper dive into Correa's monster contract, as we said, 13 years. It's tied for the second longest contract in MLB history with Bryce Harper, Giancarlo Stanton, and Julio Rodriguez. The deal trails only Fernando Tatis Jr. in his 14-year deal with the Padres.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.